House is expected to pass the Inflation Reduction Act on Friday. We've dissected the climate change provisions in the bill quite a bit on this show. One thing we haven't talked about as much is how the legislation would transform the IRS. As a means to raise revenue to pay for the bill, lawmakers agreed to boost funding for the tax collecting agency by $80 billion. It's estimated that added enforcement will lead to over $120 billion in additional revenue collected over the next decade. Now, Republicans have cynically attacked this measure, claiming it will lead to more audits of working class folks. I say cynically because the GOP obviously doesn't care about the well-being of the working class, and what they are actually concerned with is their rich donors getting busted as tax cheats by a new, more muscular IRS. But there is a shred of legitimacy to what Republicans are saying here, because the IRS, especially in recent years, has shown more of a willingness to go after poor people than anyone else. An analysis by Syracuse University this year found that the IRS audited poor families at about 5 times the rate of everyone else. Talking about people making less than $25,000 a year that are being targeted the most. If you're a millionaire, your chances of being audited have dropped dramatically over the last decade. The IRS admitted the reason why that is, well, it's just easier and it's cheaper to audit the poor than it is to audit the rich. We'll see if that attitude persists when the agency is flush with cash following the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who oversees the IRS, on Wednesday sent a letter to the agency directing it to not use any new funding to increase audits of those making less than $400,000 a year. Instead, Yellen ordered the funding to be used to go after, quote, high-end non-compliance. She said, contrary to the misinformation from opponents of this legislation, small business or households earning $400,000 per year or less will not see an increase in chances that they are audited. Let's hope so, but given the agency's track record, I'm going to have to wait to see some data on that before I believe it. Finally, financial regulators may soon require hedge funds to report their exposure to cryptocurrency. A rule set to be proposed today by the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission would force firms managing over $500 million to include information on digital asset concentration. The new reporting would be included in what's known as a Form PF, which regulators use to gather data on potential risks to the hedge fund industry. Form was mandated following the 2008 financial crisis. As the Wall Street Journal notes, the rule, quote, reflects regulators' concern that the extreme volatility of cryptocurrency could eventually affect prices for other assets, particularly if more traditional financial institutions begin investing in them. Not a bad proposal, though one that should have been put forward before the crypto market crashed, wiping away $2 trillion of wealth and harming countless retail investors. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. Also, if you want to see Means Morning News in its complete form, not just the clips we post here, head on over to Means TV and get access to all our new episodes and our entire backlog, plus tons of other great movies and original TV shows.